Welcome to the video. Today we are going to learn to play Swordsoul. Each of these 3 cards can generate a level 4 water tuner, and allowing us access to a plethora of amazing level 8 and 10 synchro monsters. To support our synchro strategy, we also run the Tenyi worms. Each has a cool effect that helps us extend our plays. But first, let's dive into the tuner-generating Swordsoul cards. Mo Ye, when summoned, will let you reveal a worm or Swordsoul card in hand to generate the tuner, while Taia requires you to banish one from the graveyard. Longyuan is special because it can special summon itself from your hand by discarding a worm or Swordsoul and will generate the water tuner afterwards. Each of these 3 monsters triggers an additional effect when you use them as a synchro material. Mo Ye will let you draw a card, Taia will let you put a worm or Swordsoul card from your deck into the graveyard, and Longyuan simply deals 1200 damage. Then, there are 2 synchro boss monsters you want to go into, Swordsoul Grandmaster Chixiao and Baronne de Fleur. These 2 are your most important synchros, and in most games you won't be summoning anything else. To support your Swordsouls, we also run a Tenyi engine. These 3 worms are the most common ones you will see in a Swordsoul deck. Note that these are conveniently level 7 alongside a level 1 tuner. Tenyi monsters can special summon themselves from hand as long as you do not control any effect monsters. This is great at the start of the game to get some board presence. You usually use your Tenyi monsters to link summon a non-effect monster named Monk of the Tenyi. Tenyi monsters can also be banished from hand or the graveyard for an effect, but you do need a non-effect monster to be on the field. Ashuna lets you special summon a Tenyi monster straight from the deck. Vishuddha lets you bounce an opponent's card back to the hand. Adhara lets you add a banished worm back to the hand. If you use Ashuna's effect, you can only summon worms from your extra deck until the end of turn, so make sure you summon Baronne before activating it if you can. You can see that Ashuna is the key Tenyi among these 3, because Ashuna plus any other named Tenyi in your opening hand means you can special summon it, go into Monk of the Tenyi, special summon your Adhara or Vishuddha from hand, activate Ashuna in the graveyard to special summon the Tenyi that isn't on the board. Now you have a level 7 plus level 1 tuner to go into a level 8 synchro play. To make the engine even more consistent, we have 2 cards, Swordsoul Emergence and Incredible Ecclesia. Swordsoul Emergence lets you add a Swordsoul card from your deck to your hand, while Ecclesia can tribute itself to special summon a Swordsoul from the deck. Ecclesia can also special summon itself from your hand if your opponent controls more monsters than you do. Swordsoul Emergence can alternatively let you add a worm if you already control a synchro monster, and also when banished allows you to increase or reduce the level of one of your monsters. This latter effect is rarely relevant. The Swordsoul deck can go into many level 8 and 10 synchro monsters. Which ones to play will depend on the current meta. However, Chixiao and Baronne will likely be mainstays of the deck. Chixiao, when synchro summoned, lets you add a Swordsoul card straight from the deck. Chixiao also has a quick effect that lets you target and negate an opponent's monster's effects. To activate this quick effect, you do need to banish a Swordsoul or worm from your graveyard. Baronne de Fleur, on the other hand, has a quick effect that lets you negate an activated effect and destroys that card. This quick effect can only be used once while Baronne is on the board. Baronne can also target and destroy one of your opponent's cards once per turn. Chixiao and Baronne, alongside a couple of hand traps, are usually enough to stop your opponent from doing anything. While most of the time you use Chixiao's search effect to fetch yourself a Longyuan from the deck to be able to go into Baronne, sometimes you want to fetch Swordsoul Blackout instead. Swordsoul Blackout lets you target a worm you control plus 2 cards your opponent controls. Destroy them. Some other notable synchro monsters that I like to call utility synchros are Baxia, Sinister Sovereign Shixing Longyuan, and Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. Baxia, when synchro summoned, lets you bounce cards back into the deck up to the number of attributes of monsters used to summon it. Taia, for example, is a wind monster, so it, together with the water tuner it generates, allows a Baxia to bounce 2 cards. Baxia also lets you special summon a level 4 or lower monster from the graveyard by destroying one of your cards on the board. Usually, you can sacrifice a spell card for this latter effect. Xixing allows you to draw a card whenever you synchro summon another monster. It also has 2 quick effects. One lets you banish an activated spell or trap, the other lets you banish a monster when it is special summoned. If you banish a card with these effects, you get to deal 1200 damage. Finally, Draco Berserker lets you banish a monster when it activates its effect. Also, when Draco Berserker destroys a monster in battle, it gains its attack and it can attack another monster. There are many other utility synchro monsters I could mention here, but as a beginner, I think with these 5 synchros you'll have your hands full learning the deck. So let us finish the video by going into one last monster, Shaman of the Tenyi, a Link 2 monster. Shaman of the Tenyi is summoned by linking away 2 worms. Shaman of the Tenyi turns any card in your hand into a pseudo-monster reborn. Shaman allows you to discard a card to then special summon a worm from your graveyard. There is a restriction though, because once you use this effect, monsters you summon from the extra deck, except Tenyi monsters, cannot activate their effects. If you stuck around this long, congratulations, you are now close to becoming a Swordsoul Pro. If you want me to do an in-depth follow-up video where I go over how to break some complex game states, let me know down in the comments. All in all, I had a lot of fun making this video, and I hope all the information I've given you is useful. If you like TCGs, please consider subscribing to my channel or supporting me over on Patreon. I am a full-time content creator and can use all the support I can get. Even something as little as a comment brightens up my day and helps YouTube know that you liked the video. So don't be shy. Feel free to ask any Swordsoul questions down below, and in return, I'll do my best to answer all of them. Either way, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.